What else happened this week? TNA,
TNA
AEW.
stuff, yeah. We
Da-da-da.
haven't talked about
Oh,
AEW in a while.
you know what happened this week?
What?
Hulk Hogan died.
Oh shit!
God, did it's so
I
far
I
off our radar.
You want to do it? I guess.
Let's talk about it. I'm sure that's why people
You
are
want to?
here.
I wanted to talk about Unreal, but I guess we could talk about. Well,
Well, let's
listen,
get through Hogan and then we can talk about Unreal.
yeah, listen, man. All right,
Let's talk about Unreal.
a wrestling, shit, a wrestling legend, passed away. All right,
Yeah,
and
that is how I would characterize him for sure.
Hulk Hogan passed away, and I don't want to wax too nostalgic because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Hulk Hogan was not my entryway into this culture, into this business, into this industry. When I was a kid, I think everybody knows this. I was a Razor Ramon fan. Even
Hmm.
when I was like, if you want to keep it 100, my earliest memories wasn't really Hulk Hogan. It was Bret Hart. It was fucking ironically Lex Luger was
Mm.
up there. Ultimate Warrior was up there. Ironically again, it wasn't really Hulk Hogan. I always thought Hulk Hogan was a little too. I'm black, you know what I mean? He too clean. He got to be hiding something.
But black niggas loved Hulk Hogan.
Little did I know
Uh,
he was hiding something. You know what I
he
mean? But
was.
yeah, and black people do love Hulk Hogan. But like I'm saying, he wasn't my entryway. So like while I can still say that in the same breath, I can still understand what he meant to a lot of kids, a lot of people, because I was there 10 years ago when
Right.
the audio came out and how many people were upset about that. You know what I'm saying?
Can I ask you a very real question?
What?
How did you react when you heard the news that he died?
Oh man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I said, oh man.
Oh man, I didn't even do that. All right, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's not that I didn't go on, and everyone has a right to feel the way they feel about Hulk Hogan and expressing the way they did. I didn't immediately go on the internet and start dropping meme after meme, um, because it's just not me when someone dies. If I got nothing nice to say, I'll shut the fuck up. And a lot of wrestlers shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much anyone who talked had something nice to say. And the reason you haven't heard wrestlers say anything bad is because the wrestlers who have things bad to say have not said anything. I looked at Drew McIntyre's timeline and I haven't seen a damn thing.
Yeah. I
I
think a
looked,
lot of it is probably they've been told not to.
of course, if you
Yeah.
got nothing nice to say, shut the fuck up. Because we doing, Raw and SmackDown had the propaganda out crazy. I low key almost thought this nigga was a hero again. But
Well,
a WWE video package will do that.
can we get
Um,
to like really just the way it was actually interesting to see how like a Cody responded to that whole thing, right? Or Cody
mm,
like was like, I mean, he did say it was complicated. I don't think he sports washed him too much. He said for what he did for the business. He didn't say he was my best friend.
I mean, I've always I'm not against
Huh?
any wrestler who has a great experience at Hogan. Uh I
What did
think
Cody do wrong?
I just think a lot of people have, like you said, been doing the thing where it's complicated and running over what actually happened.
They did it with Kobe.
I mean, shit, they did. But I think they run it doesn't make it as better than this situation.
I'm not saying to do. I'm just saying that like that is that's the dog whistle. That's the code word for you know you know nigga did some fucked up shit at one point, but
Right.
eventually he was beloved, or essentially he was beloved, and he went on to become even more beloved. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the code word for that.
But
And
go ahead.
and
Continue.
I think that when I look at and here's the thing, I'm no fan of the guy. I think that a lot of people were saying a lot of stuff on Friday that just wasn't going to happen. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Namely, oh, they should keep. I saw like people say, oh, they shouldn't air the tribute on TV, and I'm just like, okay, there's something called like reality, and there's something called like your opinion. You know what I mean? And I think that like especially with this, you got to really see how performative a lot of this shit is. You know what I mean? And there was no reality being handed out, right?
Mhm.
The reality of the matter is there ain't no fucking way that they weren't gonna say anything or they weren't gonna make this a big deal.
Of
WrestleMania
course.
3 solidified this motherfucker forever. You know what I mean? Like regardless of what he became or what he was or the lies, the guaranteed contracts, the lying, the steroid case, the snitching, all that shit, that's human.
Mhm.
That's human. I'm not excusing I'm talking about everything up to the racism, right?
Sure.
All of that shit is what niggas do in this industry. They know that. People got to understand that your bias against something doesn't change the fact of what things are. You know what I mean? And I think ultimately that's where people got it fucked up at.
I agree, but I also agree. So I guess overall, kind of like my issue with things were um that I feel, and I guess Chelsea Green felt the heat for it. I don't know if she should have felt the heat any more than anybody else, to be honest with you. Um, but the idea of that, like, it was complicated, but he did as if to me, and this is just my take. The it's complicated part, Loki feels like to me white guilt. White guilt in celebrating a man you know is openly racist, but you also want to really celebrate what he did for contributions for the industry. So you kind of want to have it both ways. But you know deep down he was a bad person. And you know low key the values don't align with your values, but you still want to celebrate him because nostalgia is a very powerful drug. And I understand that because I felt a type of way um, because my childhood nostalgia kicked in because I didn't grow up with peak Hulk Hogan, but I grew up with Hulk Hogan returning to the WWF and it just being a moment. Him tag teaming with my favorite wrestler Edge, him having that moment at WrestleMania 18, him having these moments, and you kind of really got to feel the power of Hulkamania and the magic of it all. And even as hokey as it was still something real. And I got excited as a kid, but I can't help to when the quote is brought back up, and I don't listen to it often because it makes me mad every time I listen to it. Every time I see those words, I sit there and I said, Hulk Hogan don't like me the way I liked him. Hulk Hogan don't give a fuck about me the way I gave a fuck about him. Hulk Hogan, those words are meaningful, and to be honest, it was a betrayal to a large fan base of his. And I think that's ultimately what Black wrestling fans felt in 2015 when those words came out. It low key felt like a betrayal, and I think that's why it was a very hard for anybody to turn a blind eye to it for years. It was a betrayal of trust. It was a betrayal of you sacrificed and vitamins and all this other stuff like that, and it was this great
I still
figure.
took my vitamins.
Huh?
I still took my vitamins.
I mean, I still took my vitamins too because I'm grown, but I don't need no Hulk Hogan to tell me to take vitamins. But it felt like a betrayal to me, and the battle between the childhood nostalgia in the one moment, but ultimately the feeling of betrayal is like this nigga don't give a fuck about me,
I I
and that's
I hear you, but I think to go back to your original point, right?
sure.
I don't think we should be like getting that mad at the people who work at the company that probably told them not to say nothing. You know
I
what I'm
don't get
saying?
mad. I'm
Like
side eyeing the shit out of people though, because it felt like I side eyed the shit
what
out
they
of
supposed to say.
I side eyed the shit out of what's my
Cody?
man's name? Nick Aldis, who essentially was just like, that's not my place to really speak about what happened with him. It is my place to speak about what he contributed to the industry and shit. I'm like, nigga, then shut the fuck. Like, just talk about your experience with Hogan and shut the fuck up, bro. Like, if you feel like racism is that hard to talk about, don't sweep that shit under the rug because you want to praise a man for the career and the things that he did, bro. Just talk about your experience with the nigga. Talk about how you hung out one at Bubba Gump's fish place and he gave you a high five and told you keep up the good work, brother, and keep it pushing. Like, stop trying to sweep this shit under the rug. It's not cool, in my opinion. Like, it's
But
not cool.
you know they got us sweeping under the rug.
I understand what they have to do. Reality is they could also shut the fuck up. And again, I'm getting mad about it right now because like this is legitimately how I feel every time I see those words, right? It's such a betrayal to a community, such a base of fans that these people attempt to appease in some, thing or the other. But to me, like comments like that, where you just kind of like rush it, it doesn't really align with. I'm not saying da da da, but it doesn't align with your values. So why would you attempt to minimize it in such a great? That is hurtful as well, trying to minimize the situation publicly and being like, "Yo, this shit doesn't matter." But what really mattered was the way he affected the business and the nigga. It was his job. He's a person too, and he hurt a lot of people. He hurt a lot of people. Um, you know, and then even the MAGA shit last year, the nigga threatening to fucking body slam Kamala Harris and shit. Like that's why his ass got booed in his last WWE moment. We'll remember this nigga getting booed the shit out of LA.
I mean, he
You were,
essentially went out as a joke. You know what I mean?
yeah,
He went out as a joke. I think there, and again, they say it's complicated meals because it is complicated. You know what I'm saying? It's not as complicated as it is for us because we're black.
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? It's very easy for us, but I think it speaks to literally like the racial makeup of America. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like people still don't really want to talk about that shit. You know what I mean? Like they still don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to they don't want to believe it. They don't want to interact with it. I think that is very much what you're seeing Nick Aldis do and stuff like that. Like people don't, especially older people, they're not going to reckon with it because they've largely never had to. And I
Yeah,
think that
essentially.
that's the larger issue here, that like they're not going to interact with it because they never had to. You know what I mean? They don't know what it's like to be to be racially profiled. They don't know what it's like to be followed around in stores. They don't know what it's like to be called a nigger. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't know any of those things. Those are completely new experiences for them. And if they had the choice, they'd be like, you know what? I'm not going to interact with this at all. And it's unfair. You know what
It's
I'm saying?
super
Like,
unfair. But it's also to me, I don't know, it just feels very like for me it's hurtful.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the reality of the situation. Everything you said is correct. Um, but just to me it reads hurtful. It reads like minimizing words that he says and things that he meant and the hateful actually words that he said.
Yeah, I think
And
it's always tough in wrestling too, where we have to start separating the character from the person, and I think that's like I think too often on one end people they don't do it enough, and on the other end they do it too much, right? Like when people show you who they are, believe them 100%. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, if that affects how you watch the shows or anything like that, stop. You know what I mean?
right.
Like because again, if this is fucking with your mental and your enjoyment of something, you move on to something else. You go where you feel as though you belong, or where you're
Mhm.
you're 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 needed. And I think with Hulk Hogan, is such a tough conversation for so many reasons because of how inundated he is. I'm not just saying wrestling meals. He's inundated in everything.
Yeah,
He's
no.
he's he's in everything.
It's a tough conversation for a lot of folks, to be honest with you. I mean, we saw the same thing happen with black folks and Bill Cosby. You know what I'm saying? We still see the same thing happen low key with R. Kelly. They're not dead, but if R. Kelly ever dies,
Oh yeah,
you're going to see a celebration of R. Kelly, believe
yeah,
it or not. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Michael Jackson died. Michael Jackson had allegations for various things that went on, and people celebrate him until the day, more than the day that he died. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying?
mhm.
So it's kind of like, where do we, as a society, the line ultimately resides with you on how you feel and how these things align with your values. And just know, I mean, with the just kind of how people feel about things and how kind of like outspoken society is and how kind of social media has connected people in different ways and able to see kind of opinions and stuff. People go side eye the fuck out of you. I mean, I'm sure they're okay with it because ultimately, at the end of the day, the world keeps moving, the world keeps spinning. A week later, we're gonna head into SummerSlam. Hopefully, by the time SummerSlam is over, no one will be even talking about Hulk Hogan anymore. Um,
I don't think the tributes are over.
no, they're
I
not. I mean, it's
he's
summer.
at
This
least
nigga
he's at
never
least
lost at
getting
SummerSlam.
he's at least getting a battle royal or an award named after him. Uh,
Listen, man.
I need people to. I'm just saying, people need to be ready so that they can choose accordingly whether to interact with this stuff however they want to. You know what I mean? Like you need to
Mhm.
be able to know so you can choose accordingly. I refuse to interact with this because it does not serve a purpose in my life. You
Right,
know what I'm
and it
saying?
doesn't
Like
align with the things that you're,
yes. Yes, essentially. Like they people I'm just saying, like, be ready for him to get the full ticker tape fucking parade. You know what I'm saying? When that time comes. And do not be surprised, do not be shocked, do not be upset. It's going to happen, but just be sure to turn your TV on mute. You feel me? Like that's essentially all I'm gonna have to say up to that. But like I think in terms of where he's at or where his legacy is at. I feel like as black people or as you know wrestling fans, we have a lot of different people that we could rally behind and say that we like and and put over him. I have never really been the hugest Hulk Hogan fan. Stone Cold Steve Austin me, bro. You know what I mean? Like, but
yeah,
then even then, I can't even say that because Stone Cold got his own shit. I'm like, damn. If I say I fuck with Stone Cold, he was in his own shit. He had his own. He got arrested for his own shit. You know what I mean? Like that's it's tough. But that's where
yeah,
it comes where it's like is it the character or is it the person? You know what I mean? Like and not everyone's closets are clean.
yeah,
But I think that when it comes to something like what Hulk Hogan did, and how that came out and then his life afterwards, I think the way that his story ended, a legend in decline, a legend in reclusiveness, a legend that hitched his wagon to one of the most embarrassing, failing regimes of American history. I'd say that the work's already been done, Mills. He killed his own shit. You know what I mean? He ended his own
right.
shit. What more do we got to say?
Uh, and if you want something really great and you know warming and all this other stuff about what he contributed to business, listen to the podcast all his friends host.